Hello everyone, you are welcome to this class. So in this class we continue from where we stopped in our last video. So in the last video we started with angles. We've looked at types of angles, different types of lines and angles, and we also looked at relations between degrees, minutes and seconds. So but in this video we want to look at some theorems that are attached to angles. So we're going to start with angles between lines and triangles. There are some theorems that are attached to it, so we're going to look at these four first before we move to the next one. So angles, the first one is angles on a straight line. The second one is complementary angles, supplementary angles, and angles at a point. Now, when we talk about angles on a straight line, we've told you that for us to have an angle, two straight lines must what? Meet. So just like when you have this is a straight line, all right? So we have a straight line. So you now have another straight line on it. So maybe the straight line is here like this. So you can see this straight line is meeting the other straight line. These are vertical line, horizontal line at this point here. All right. So we have formed angles here. So this line, this is one angle here, and this is another angle here. So we have two angles here. So these two angles are what we refer to as adjacent angles. These two angles are on this single straight line. This angle and this angle, they are beside each other. You can see they are adjacent. So when they are like this, what is the theorem? So the theorem is very simple. So if this is A and this is B, so A plus B is equal to 180 degrees. That means that adjacent angles on a straight line is equal to what? 180 degrees. So we're going to say sum, that is addition of sum of adjacent angles on a straight line is what? 180 degrees, as you can see. So that means A plus B equals what? So it can be anyhow. For example, you can have it this way, with something like this. All right. So just note that we have two angles as well. This is one, and this is another one. So these two angles, you add them together to give you what? 180 what degrees. So that means x plus y equals what? 180 degrees. I hope I'm making sense. So that is what we refer to as adjacent angles on a straight line. So it can be anyhow. So what you just need to note is, so these the angles and the lines that form them. This angle is formed by this line and this line. So this line and this line. Then this angle too is formed by this line and this line. That is adjacent angles. I hope that is very clear. So that is that for the first one. So it now depends. For example, let's look at an example and see how it is applicable to it. So for example, you have this, you're given this diagram. You're given this diagram. For example, you have this diagram. So you now have this. You have another one. Alright. So you are given this one to be 63 degrees. And this is x. And this is 42 degrees. So the question asks you to find the value of x. So the same thing, you notice here that we have three angles here. So it doesn't matter, it's not easy for it to be two angles, it can be three angles, it can be four angles. But the most important thing for you to notice that these angles are on a single straight line. They are adjacent angles. You can see they are beside one another. So in that case, what we are saying is that this plus this must give us 180 degrees. That is angles on a straight line. So that is 42 degrees plus 63 degrees plus x degrees equals to what? 180 degrees. Now, you can't just leave it like this. You must tell us why the sum of all these angles equals to 180 degrees. You now put that in a bracket. So, because the question will ask you, if it is in theory, they will ask you to prove, to tell us the reason why this is equal to this. So the reason is that you just write angles on a straight line. Angles on a straight line. Put it in bracket in front of it. On a straight line, which is very important. So from here you can then add this together. This gives us 105, right? Plus x equals 180 degrees. We collect like terms. We've done equation. So this would give us x equals 180 degrees minus 105 degrees. How that is very clear. So in that case, we're going to have x to be equal to what? 75 degrees. So that is that on that one. So then we'll move to complementary angles now. The next one is complementary angles. So that is number 2, complementary angles. Complementary angles. So under complementary angles, we're going to look at the two together and the supplementary angles. Let's have it that so you can get it. Supplementary angles. Now, so complementary angles and supplementary angles is when you have this one is when you add two numbers together and it gives you 90 degrees. So that angles the two angles are said to be complementary. While when the addition of two angles gives you 180 degrees, that two angles are said to be supplementary angles. And that means that sum of two angles are said to be complementary. Said to be what? Complementary. Complementary. If their sum gives what? 90 degrees. That is, if A plus B equals to 90 degrees, that means, therefore, A and B are complementary angles. Complementary angles. Alright? And for supplementary is if the sum of two angles gives 180 degrees, they are said to be supplementary angles. They are said to be supplementary angles. So that means if A plus B gives you 180 degrees, so therefore A and B are what? Supplementary. So let's now look at how the question can come. You understand? So I can ask you to find the supplementary angle or complementary angle to some numbers. Alright? So let's look at that. Examples now. It can come in any form. Examples. The first one states whether the pairs of angles below are complementary or supplementary. Or neither. Alright? Or neither. So the first one, let's have 48 and 42 degrees. B, 105 degrees and 75 degrees. C, 62 degrees and 88 degrees. Then G, 32 degrees and 56 degrees. So let's take a look at these examples first. So we want to determine if these two sets of angles are complementary, or if these are complementary or supplementary, or neither. So let's look at the first one. So the first thing you need to do is to add the two of them together. You add the two angles together and see what you're going to get. So you add the two together, that is going to be 48 degrees plus 42 degrees. So that's the first one. So this gives us 90 degrees. So we can say that these two angles are what? Complementary. Complementary. Are you with me? How this is very clear. That's complementary. Then B, look at B, 105 degrees plus 75 degrees. This gives what? 180 degrees. This is what? Supplementary. How this is getting clearer, right? Then C, 62 degrees plus 88 degrees. So that is 90. 90 plus this 150 degrees. So this 150 is neither supplementary or complementary. It's not 90 degrees and it's not 180 degrees. So the answer will be what? Neither. Neither the two of them. Then D as well. So we have 32 degrees and then what? 56 degrees. So let's add this together. This is 80. This is going to give us 88 degrees. So this is also what? Neither. I hope this is very clear. Alright. So if that is the case, so let's look at another one. Another example. That's example 2 now. Let's find example 2 and see how this one goes. For example 2, find the complementary angle of 68 degrees. 3. Find the supplementary angle of 111 degrees. So that is it. So we're going to look at these two questions again and see what we're going to get. Now, so what we are saying is that we are looking for the second angle that we're going to have to 68 degrees that will give us 90 degrees. That's it. Complementary add up to 90 degrees. While supplementary add up to what? 180 degrees. So that means for the 2, so it's going to be 90 degrees minus 68 degrees. You understand? That will give us the second angle. Now since 68 degrees plus the other angle we are looking for, let's say A, must give us 90 degrees. For the two of them to be complementary. So the number to be added to it will then be what? So that is going to be A equals to 90 degrees minus 68 degrees. So this A, then we subtract, is 22 degrees. That's 22 degrees. I hope I'm making sense. Alright, so if that is number 3 now, we have 111. That means 111 degree, 101 degrees, and 111 degrees plus the second angle must give us what? 180 degrees because of its complementary angles, right? So in that case, its complementary angle will then be what? 180 degrees minus 111 degrees, right? So this will give us 69 degrees. 69 degrees, all right? Yes, 69 degrees. I hope that is very clear. So which means 22 degrees is complementary angle to 68 degrees, while 69 degrees is complementary angle to 111 degrees, supplementary angle to 111 degrees. I hope that is very clear. So that is that on this 3. So we have one more left. That is angles at a point. Before we now look at some other theorem. So see how others. So angles at a point. Angles at a point. So that's next thing. Angles at a point. Angles at a point. We are seeing other angles between lines. We have not moved to triangles. Alright? So angles at a point. So you can say everything I'll be looking at, there are still angles on between lines. So angles at a point. So if you have a point like this, you now have angles surrounding this particular point. So we have an angle, we have this is an angle, right? We have another one, we have another one. You can have it anyhow. So if you look at this is an angle. This is an angle. this another angle, this another angle, this another angle. You can say all these angles, they are revolving around a point. And if you look at it, like they are forming a circle. If you look at it, formed a circle. And we know that the total degrees we have done that here, we did that in our last video. The total degree in a circle, that is a complete revolution, is of 360. The same thing with this one. So sum of angles at a point will give you 360 degrees. So if this is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. So the sum of angles that's at a point will give us what? 360. That means A plus B plus C plus Z equals what? 360 degrees. That is angles at a point. I hope I'm making sense. That means angles at a point. So having known this, so the next thing is just for example, you can have something like this. This is a straight line. You have this, you have this. You agreed with me that some of angles, these angles here, A, B, C, is 180 degrees. If I now have another set of angles here, so this is another angle, this is another angle. These angles, these two angles here, they are also on a straight line. This same straight line. So this and this, D, E, will also give us 180. So this one, 180 degrees. This one here, 180 degrees. And you can see all of them are surrounding a particular point. So 180 plus 180 degrees. So this will give you what? 360. That has proved this for us again. I hope this is very clear. So one thing what you just need to know is any angle that surrounds it could be three angles, it could be two angles, it can be two angles, it could be three angles, four angles, and so on and so forth that surround a circle. It's what refers to as. It can also be two angles as well, because you can have something like this. You can have something like this. This is an angle, and this is another angle. Alright? So the sum of this and this one will also give us what? 180 degrees. I hope that is very clear. So that is that on this one. That is angles on at a point. Angles, sum of angles at a point. So we just conclude that sum of angles at a point, sum of angles at a point is 360 degrees. Sum of angles at a point is 360 degrees. Let's see its application. Let's see its application before we move on. So find example. Find the side, the angles marked X in the diagram below. In the diagram below. Alright? So we have the diagram here. We have this. So you have to find the value of X here. So how do we do that? So it's just very simple, straightforward. So what we're going to do is sum of everything here. That means X plus 72 degrees plus 49 degrees plus 102 degrees equals what? 360 degrees. So if it's theory, we must state the reason why all these gives you 360. So that is angles at a point. Just put it here. Angles at a point. All that is clear. So we have this together. So this plus it, that's 174. 174 plus 49. This is 13. This is 12. That is 2. So that means X plus 2, 2, 3 equals what? 360 degrees. That means X equals 360 degrees minus 223 degrees. That's 360 minus 223. So this is 7, this means 5, that is 3. That means x equals to what? 137 degrees. Now this is very clear too. So let's look at other examples, more examples before we proceed. So what we have there, we have find the value of x in the figure below. So that means if you look at it, don't be scared. It's still the same thing. You will see all these angles here, they are surrounding a point. That is addition of everything here, you follow the same thing. Addition of everything here will still give us what? 360 degrees. So in that case, to solve that, we're going to have, that means we're going to say 3x plus x plus 4x plus 120 degrees equal to what? 360 degrees. That is same thing, angles at a point. Angles at a what? At a point. So in this case, we're going to add this, the one with x together. We can't add the one with x with the one without x. They are not the same thing. So that means 3x plus x, that is 4x. 4x plus 4x, that is what? 8x. Plus 120 degrees equals what? 360 degrees. So that means 8x equals to 360 degrees minus 120 degrees. I collected like terms here. So I move this to the other side. That will change it to minus, right? So that's going to give us 8x. So when you subtract this is going to give you 0. And this is 4 to 240 degrees. This will give us 240 degrees. I hope I'm making sense. So we divide both sides by 8. We have done equation before. So all this will not give us a problem. Divide this one by what? By 8 as well. So this cancel this. Therefore, x equals to 8 here 1, 8 here, that is 3. So the answer equals to what? 30 degrees. You can confirm your answer. So that means this one is 30 degrees. While this one is 90 degrees. That is 30 times 3. While this one will be what? 120 degrees. Right? So we had everything together. That's 120 plus 120. 90 plus 30. That is also 120. So if you look at it, this gives us what? 360 degrees. Which means that we are very, very much what correct here. So that means the next, let's look at one more example under angles between lines. Example 2. So the same thing. So if you look at what we have in example 2, so this is this line, the vertical line here is the horizontal line is perpendicular towards the vertical line. Alright? So this vertical line, these are the vertical line and the horizontal line. They are perpendicular. That means it's from 90 degrees. And this is how you are going to know. So anytime you see square corner like this, something square like this here. So that means the angle here is what? 90 degrees. That means this angle and this angle are complementary angles. So that means x plus 27 degrees equals what? 90 degrees. That is complementary angle. Complementary angles. Complementary angles. Alright? So therefore we're going to have x equals to 90 degrees minus 27 degrees. And that x is going to be because it's 3 degrees. Is that clear? So that is that on the first one. The second one, if you look at what we have here, this and this are the same, xx. They are xx. This angle here, what is this angle here? This is square corner, I just explained it here. So this one means it's 90 degrees. This is 40 degrees. So, and all of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4 angles are lying on a straight line. So which means addition of everything here will give us what? 180 degrees. That's some of angles on a straight line. So in that case, this is what we're going to have. That will be x plus 90 degrees plus 40 degrees equals to what? 180 degrees. Why? Angles on a straight line. On a straight line. Angles on a straight line. So the next is x plus x. That gives us 2x. 90 plus 40. That gives us what? 130 degrees. Equals to what? 180 degrees. We collect like terms here. So that means we're going to have 2x equals to 180 degrees minus what 130 degrees. That means 2x equals to what 50 degrees. So that is not all. What we are looking for is x, not 2x. So we divide both sides by 2. By 2. So therefore x equals to what 25 degrees. I hope this is very clear. So that is that on angles between lines. We are not done. We still have some other concepts under angles between lines. So which we are going to be looking at corresponding angles, alternate angles, co-interior angles, vertically opposite angles. The 4 of them we're going to look at them in the next video. Then apart from that, we also look at angles in a triangle. Angles in triangles, we also look at the theorem too. So by the time we look at everything will be concluded. So we still have 2 more videos to complete this video, this topic. 2 more videos to complete this. So if you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and make sure you put on your notification bell. So anytime I release video like this, you're able to have access to it and benefit from it. So we're going to meet in our next class. Bye for now.